Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Everything NYJ. I'm your host, Italy Jet. We have the battered Jets fans in the house. What's going on, fellas?
Yeah, man, living the dream. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, doing good. How's your guys' days been?
It's been pretty great.
All right. What about you, Danny?
I can't complain. I mean, I'm under the weather a little bit, but with this game coming up and the World Cup coming up, I feel like, is there any negatives coming? Well, you know what? Let me not put that out into the ether. Let me not put that out there. As of right now, I'm good. I'm good for now.
Man, I love that. I'm kind of with you on that when it comes to the World Cup because Italy's not in it. So now I'm like,
Uh,
so now I'm like,
you don't root for the U.S.?
No, I'm rooting for Canada. I'm rooting for Canada and anybody in Asia and Netherlands too. I think it'll be good.
Oh, you're Canadian?
I'm not Canadian. I just like a lot of people on Canada.
Fair enough.
Interesting.
It's all good. It's all
Alfonso
good.
Davies and all them?
David and Loren. He played for Orlando. And he went,
yeah, I know.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
it's cool.
Danny knows that Orlando team very well, don't you, Danny?
Yeah.
yeah. I was about to say because I'm a TFC fan. You're an Orlando fan, so
I'm an Inter Miami fan.
Inter Miami. Sorry.
Yes.
Inter
He
Miami.
hates Orlando. That's why I threw that out there.
Yes. But all good. All good. So
What up, Elmo's World?
Yeah, Elmo, Mr. Elmo. What's up, boys? How you doing, Elmo? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So, guys, I have to ask. I've been saving this because I was on your podcast, I think like a few weeks ago, and I have to say, how did you guys become battered Jets? Because now you have the battered Dolphins, right? And then you have Inter Miami. How did all this become afloat for you guys?
You want me to go? You want to go first, Dan?
no, you go first.
So if you backtrack, I want to say 4, maybe 5 years at this point, Danny, right? We had like the Bench Warmers podcast, we had the Six Borough podcast, and we had a lot of different episodes under our belt with those two podcasts. And the one thing that me and Danny have always been able to do is talk sports with one another, whether it be basketball, football, so on and so forth. And another thing is we equally enjoy us two talking sports back and forth. My fascination with the Dolphins, his fascination with the New York Jets. People were like, "Oh, how does that work?" Because for the most part, we're not trolls about our team. We're pretty consistent with how we feel about our teams. We're not too high, we're not too low. We call it right down the middle. So a few months back, I'll say early January, Danny, if I'm not mistaken, you said we took enough time off. Life happens, family happens. And you really wanted to kickstart the game again as far as podcasting and whatnot. And he came out with the battered label. So that battered label comes from Danny's mindset in the aspect of there's battered Nets fans out there. There's battered Jets fans. There's for sure battered Dolphins fans as well. He goes, I really think we could play into this idea and create these three or four shows from it. And that's where we kind of came together and said, let's do it. So I'm his co-host on the Jets show, and it's nice that you said we have the guys from the Battered Jets podcast here. I'm like,
I like that he said that.
It kind of hurt. It kind of hurt a little bit, but I understood where you were coming from. But that's kind of how we got going, and then Danny can fill you in on the rest.
Yeah, it's just like he said. We had that podcast going, and we had a little bit of steam. But I feel like when you want to get a lot of steam, you got to niche it down a little bit. We were already broad with the sports talk. And like you said, life happens. And in the beginning of this year, I wanted to start talking sports again. And I came up with this whole battered fans thing. And I kind of want to get a battered fans for just about every team if possible. But I figured I'd start small with 4 teams. I figured Manny could join me on the Jets, and I'd do a Dolphins one with him. I got a Nets one. I got an Inter Miami one. I'm hoping to start another 2 in a couple months and then just start growing from there. So it's kind of like a battered fans umbrella, and then kind of just start filling in the podcast under it. So that's basically what it is. And as far as talking Jets, I talk Jets more with Manny than other Jets fans, honestly. And he usually gives it to me straight. Like he'll tell me he likes Zach Wilson. He tells me he thinks that they'll do well this year, that they'll do poorly this year. So it's even keel with him. So he's the perfect person to have a co-host with. So that's kind of how it got started.
Man, I freaking love that. I love that. So Jets Chaos, we are battered. I cope by
You see?
turning that pain into chaos, and I bring the chaos. Hey,
That's
I'm the
chaos.
same. I'm the same way because like I bring 110% anywhere I go when it comes to anything. I
Right.
do 8 to 10 shows a week. I do a lot of soccer stuff, as Danny knows. We've talked about it a few times. So I totally get it. We bring a little bit of everything to something, even when you're missing something. So that's why I love the duo that you guys have. People have said that about me and Liam as well. So that's great. I love what you guys do, and I love your videos. I love your intros you post on Twitter and everywhere else. It's been getting a lot of traction. I think you guys should be bigger than what you are. Honestly, you guys are doing a very good job. Keep up the good work, fellas.
Oh,
I
thank you. I
appreciate
appreciate
that.
that. Yeah. And as
Yeah,
far as, I mean, we've only been doing this for 2 months or so. So I think we're okay.
Congrats.
For 3 months or so. Beginning of the season is when we started. So
Right. We had the preseason show. We had a few. I don't want to say
like a
practice
warm-ups,
shows. We
like
don't want to call them
warm-ups.
that, but there were little practice shows in the middle. But he
Yeah,
said
totally get that.
once that season starts, once week one starts, we're going to hit the ground and we're going to start rolling. And I appreciate what Jets Chaos says. We are battered because what Danny's idea brought was, do you know how many of us out there, whatever your sports team is,
Yes.
there's moments in your fandom and X amount of years that you've been a fan where you feel battered. You're like, you keep getting high on your team, you keep getting high on your team, and you just keep getting battered down right back to reality. And so all praise to him on that one, man. He put that label together and it's been really effective.
I love that. I love that because anyone can bring a certain type of audience to your audience. And I love that you guys do that. And I love that the fan base does that too. But also Jets Chaos is also saying keep going, stay passionate, success will come. And actually,
Sure.
I've been actually fighting with that too. You know, I've been doing this I'd say since the beginning of the year, and I always keep thinking, I should be here, I should be here, I should be there. But it's gonna come. You know, you just gotta stay consistent. A lot of people have told me the consistency is key, and you know your audience. You know when you post things, and people just expect it. Like I
Slow
got
and
my
steady
brand.
wins the race, man. And
Exactly.
you've been doing good work. And listen, I don't know how Danny does it. I even less know how you do it. You said you literally record Monday through Friday and even sometimes on Saturday as well, if I remember that correctly when you were on our show.
Actually, I do one on Monday. Tuesdays are my off days. I do
Okay.
two on Wednesday, two on Thursdays, one on Friday, one on Saturday, and then one on Sunday.
Woo!
So yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
Yeah.
I try to get everywhere. I love this. I have a nice setup now too.
For
Like
sure.
I got a full computer now. I got the flags in the back. I always say Jets Chaos is my number one fan. He's my cheerleader.
No, that is impressive because but then, I mean, are you married or have kids or anything?
I do. I've been married for almost 3 years, and it will be 5 years we've been together in 2024.
Nice. Congrats, man.
Congrats.
I appreciate
Because
that.
my thing is that I have a full-time job, and then I teach night school after I get out of my regular job. Once I get out of night school, I come home to a wife and 2 kids. So I
Very
do
nice.
all of that plus the 4 podcasts, and it's tough to find time. Like when you were asking about other shows and guest spots and
Definitely.
stuff, I was like,
Yes.
it's really tough because I'm having a hard time doing these, and I want to
Exactly.
get 2 more started soon. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But like you said, stay consistent, and as long as I'm having
Exactly.
fun, I really don't care. It's all fun.
Exactly. And also I Bearded Fanatic, and we've talked about this a little bit too. I know me and you've talked about it too, Danny. There's really no bandwagon fans when it comes to our teams. Dolphins, Jets, Inter Miami, even with the Nets, because we have had some type of losing over the last decade. But it's really cool that I like what you guys have done with your platforms, keeping that fan base alive and keeping the positivity alive. I love what you guys do with it. How do you guys like stay consistent with that even through the rough times? Let's start with Bearded Fanatic first.
Oof, rough times, man. I think that's putting it mildly. The fact is, I've been a Dolphins fan since 1991. That's when I really started watching football, and I probably just gave my age away there a little bit.
No biggie.
But
No biggie.
I got to enjoy a big chunk of Dan Marino's career, and then I got to enjoy well, enjoy is a strong word. I got to witness 23 other quarterbacks trying to fill those shoes for the last 20 plus seasons. So the way I see it is I never got really high on my team and I never got really low. One thing that I've stayed consistent, and Danny could speak to this as well, is I've never been a fan, and you'll never see me a tweet. You'll never see a Facebook message. You'll never see me saying anything on MySpace that says my team's going to the Super Bowl. I've never been that guy because that any given Sunday, as cliche as it is, dude, everything could happen anytime. As soon as you're 15-0 and you go into the Super Bowl and you got Randy Moss as your wide receiver and you got Tom Brady, who beat them? It's like, as soon as you think you got it, you don't got it. So the way I stay positive about my fan base is I try to keep people as even keel as possible. Like, be happy with the success, but just know that at any point it could turn around. And as long as you have a big group of people that buy into that belief, you're going to be fine, man. You're going to be able to support your team through thick and thin. So for me, 1-15, 16-0, man, or now 17-0, I'm always going to be a diehard Dolphins fan.
What about you, Danny?
I've always said that being a Jets fan is a little worse than being a fan of just about any other team because, well, I mean, I know you chose to do it from St. Louis, which is crazy, but most New Yorkers, most New Yorkers have a choice between two teams, and it's either the Jets, or the Giants. And when you look back at the last,
what about Buffalo?
Buffalo doesn't count. That's Toronto.
Okay.
I'm surprised you don't like Buffalo. So when you put those two and you see the history that the Giants have had over the last 20 years, and you realize that you chose that. You chose to be a Jets fan. It hurts just a little bit more. But, I mean, even with that said, there's been times where the Jets are my number one team, hands down. I like 5 professional sports. I watch 5 professional sports. I follow 5 professional sports teams. The Jets are my number one.
Love it.
And they can literally change the mood of my week. And it's bad because I feel like I shouldn't let it affect me to that level, but I can't help it. And it affects my mood to such an extent that it'll put me in a bad mood for a full week. So I stay positive, but it's not always easy. So what I try to do is I try not to be overly optimistic. I try to be as realistic as possible. Going into that first season with Adam Gase, I was actually surprised that we got 7 wins because I always knew that Adam Gase was a piece of crap. So I try to keep it as realistic as possible when I'm looking into a season. This season, I predicted maybe a wildcard spot. Hopefully, I thought 9 wins, maybe. You know, I'm completely surprised by where we're at now. I didn't think 6-3. I thought either 4 or maybe if we got lucky 5 wins. So I try to be as realistic as possible and as cautiously optimistic as possible, and that's how I think I keep saying.
Was that it?
He said that's how he keeps saying through these seasons. Yeah.
There you go. Hey, I'm with you. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, as you guys know, and I get crapped on everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's a Cowboys fan, Chiefs fan, Rams fan, Bears fan. They're always
you're surrounded.
Not only are they in my family, every time I go to a grocery store, because I'm just so passionate on all the teams I am, it doesn't really, there's no really like fresh air. The first time I went to New York, which was at the home opener, it was the first time I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a whole new world. I'm not in the middle of America feeling alone. It was just it was awesome. And then going to the home opener, it was like, okay, wow, this is giving me a lot of Rams vibes right now. So
was it this past season?
Yeah, it was Ravens against the Ravens.
Okay, this season.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was.
That was the first time you ever went to New York?
First time I went to New York. First time I've been to a home game for the Jets. Yes.
That's awesome.
It was.
The stadium sucks.
Yeah, I was just about to say the stadium wasn't really that great, but the tailgating was unbelievable. It reminds me of the Chiefs tailgate. It's like you can't really get to the front really easily, and it's bouncing from every tailgate that I wanted to go to. It was extremely hard because we got there late as well. So it was one of those things where I couldn't really do all I really wanted to do, but I did enough, which was really cool. But overall, I still like it. But so I got a question for you when it comes to the battered Jets fans. Who does the videos of those intros on Twitter, everywhere? Who does all that?
Sweet. That's me.
Okay, so you have a creative mind. I've said that before. You have a creative mind when it comes to all this stuff. What's the passion underneath that? What's the passion?
I've always been into that. I've always been into the dramatic trailers and all that other kind of stuff. It helps me get
Same
hyped.
here.
When I hear, I have a very, like you said, my imagination runs wild. When I'm watching a season, for example,
right,
I tend to kind of play out the season as if I were to be making a trailer for a championship DVD. You know how they used to make championship DVDs? Like the Lakers won the 2010 championship.
Like the Avalanche and the St. Louis Blues.
And they
like
used to
those
have
kind of
the
ones?
DVD for that season.
Yes.
Now, obviously, I only have Yankee ones, obviously, and one Rangers. But my other teams are horrible. But I used to watch those, and they used to make drama out of almost nothing. And I've gotten to a point where when I imagine a season, I'm like, this would be the voiceover where things get really dramatic. Boom, they ran into Bill Belichick. You know, they still can't get over that hump. And they show like dramatic music and Zach Wilson putting his hands on his head. And these are things that I always imagine. And that's just kind of how my mind always works. So being able to put that onto like video with music over it, I think it's just fun to me. It's what I picture in my head anyway. I'm just kind of just putting it now on screen. And honestly, it was kind of like a weird mistake because I've always thought about it, but I never actually did it. I don't have Adobe Premiere or anything like that. I literally use iMovie, which is the app that comes with your phone. That's what I use. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. So
wow. Okay.
So it was kind of it was weird because what happened was late September, the Nets were gonna be having their media day, and I hadn't seen really too much hype about it, but I felt like in my head, I was already thinking about the dramatic scene that it would be. And I thought about this one song that I really liked, and I was like, this would be really cool. And I just messed with iMovie, and I made a quick clip, and it got hot on Nets Twitter. I was like, that was pretty cool. Yeah. And then before the season started, I did another one for the Nets. I was like, I think I could do one for these for the Jets.
Right.
Yeah.
And I made 2 in one weekend, which was like 3 or 4 weekends ago. And since then, I've just been making them every Sunday. So it hasn't been a long history. It's something that I've always done in my head. But it's something that I just really started putting to iMovie now. Literally, this is where it comes. It's straight off the phone. iMovie.
And you should add in there, Danny. How many hours of videos do you go through?
Let me tell you something. I've told Manny, because Manny's asked me about this, and because he's like, you should make one for the Dolphins. It's easy for me to make it for the Jets and the Nets and the teams that I like because I'm passionate about it. I don't mind sitting through hours.
Correct. Yeah.
The hardest part of making those videos is one, I guess, coming up with the story that I wanted to tell.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And finding the right song for that story, but it's finding the clips. You have to just watch a shitload of video. And I don't mind it because I enjoy what I'm watching.
Yes.
Manny, it's harder for me to make one for the Dolphins as much as I would like to because I know it would help grow his Twitter page and the account and stuff. It's just I can't sit through hours of video for that. But that is literally the hardest part. Now, One Jets Drive has helped out a lot, let me tell you, because they have a lot of great footage. But it's really hard to find that footage. So that's what makes it. Because if you just start putting a bunch of videos from the broadcast camera, it doesn't hit the same. It doesn't hit the same. So you got to find the good quality videos. Yeah.
So do you clip them off YouTube? Do you clip them off like GIF, or do you clip them off Twitter?
Off of YouTube.
Like you got to pay that subscription, right?
Mm-hmm.
You pay a subscription. See, that's what I'm trying to do. Man, I probably shouldn't be saying this right now, but I don't care. You know how they do waiting all day for Sunday night, and then the Monday night. Yeah. I'm actually thinking about doing that with the Jets, like someone taping me and just going through highlights. All right, we're back again. It's Patriots week. Man, we fucking hate him, and you do too. So let's go. It's just that kind of stuff.
Right.
I'm actually thinking about doing that, but I don't have the proper equipment. And now that you say iMovie, I'm like, okay, interesting.
Dude, all you need is the want to. If you want to, you can
exactly.
do it.
Yeah.
All it takes is Danny making a video of a master class on how to do it, and I think we could all just learn from that. I think that's what should happen.
Exactly.
I'm already cooking up the one for Sunday.
I like it.
I bet. Man, I gotta take some classes from you. But yeah, I've always loved that stuff. I've always loved the highlight videos. I love how you can turn something into nothing with music in there. It's so cool.
You have the right song.
Exactly.
It'll
hit different. It'll hit different.
He sent me that Casey and JoJo. He's like, I find this amusing, but I want you to watch it. I was laughing hysterically. I'm like, dude, you have to post this. Yeah. I'm like, I think
the Joe Douglas one.
Yeah. I think the majority of people will watch this and they will understand the humor behind it. And then coming from somebody who went through a litany of GMs that just didn't know how to do their job, I know how it feels once you find that one. And he picked the right song for how he felt towards Joe. I'm like, you got to post this. I'm like, and then it hit. People loved it. And I'm like, I freaking told you it was going to work, man.
And it's funny because I was watching a random video on Instagram and that song came on. And it was that same day that I made the video. And the song came on. And I started saying it to myself. And for some reason, Joe Douglas's face popped up in my head. Bam. And I was like, I'm going to make this.
Oh, yeah. You should. I love that, man.
No Adobe Premiere, none of that. I know that Adobe Premiere is where people really start editing, but no, just straight iMovie. And it's really hard because you got to keep what you're imagining to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And because you have to condense it that much, it makes it even harder because it doesn't let you put anything more, not half a second more. So you really have to like condense everything that you're imagining in your head. You got to put it down to that time frame. So it's not easy, but it's fun.
Man, I might just do that. I'll just do iMovie. I love that. Good. I love seeing other people do good in their content. I'm always rooting for people when it comes to something new or when it's not. So you guys are doing great with that. Keep it up. So let's get to some Jet stuff now. I know we've been talking about. I know me and Liam have been talking about the bye week and everything else with the bye week. For the Jets, I'll start with Danny. Do you think that this bye week came at a good time for the New York Jets, not only because they're facing against the Patriots, but just overall because of injuries? What do you think, Danny?
Health-wise, yes. I think that it came out at a good time because of the injuries. What I think sucks is that we played the Steelers the week after they played on Thursday Night Football. We played the Dolphins the week after they played on Thursday Night Football. So technically those are like half buys. And now we're playing the Patriots after a bye week. I wish we kind of got it another way around where we were on the bye week and then the other team had just played or maybe even played on Monday. But the Patriots are going to be just as rested. And in the last 20 years, I want to say Bill Belichick's only lost 4 times after a bye week. So giving Bill Belichick a full 2 weeks to prepare for you, not the best thing in the world either, going into New England. So I do think the bye for us came at the perfect time, but I hate the fact that the Patriots also had a bye week. So what about you, Manny?
I personally think it came at a perfect time, but for a completely different reason. Obviously, health-wise, always being able to rest those injuries up before a big game is very important. But for me, it's a different reason. I think that, and we talked about it yesterday, Danny, that the fact that the Jets lost that Patriots game and you guys have been wanting some of that ass since you lost to them, and now you've had a whole full week to prepare for them. Dude, I think that that's the main reason why your team's going to come out hot this game. I don't think there's going to be any slack coming out of the gates. Like, I think they're going to start fast right in that first quarter. If I'm thinking, besides deferring the ball, that even if that defense is going to want to get after Mac Jones right away, and I have a high feeling that that's exactly what's going to happen this game. They're going to get after him.
Interesting. Because I'm always like, I hate this team so much. So it's one of those things where I kind of want to go big, but my wife is encouraging me to go middle. So it's one of those things.
You were one of the guys. You're like, we want to embarrass the shit out of the Jets. You were one of those guys. I mean, embarrass the shit out of the Patriots a few weeks back. You're like, we got to put a 40-piece on them. We got to demolish them. I remember that.
I didn't say 40. I said that's what we need to do. Was it going to happen? I know, because I'm trying to be realistic. But I always throw up the Vinny and the Jets where he wants to cream him, and then you got Gunny going, I want this.
Right.
And then there's me, middle, and then there's Liam all the way up here.
I came on Twitter and I said, please stop saying this. I don't care if we win by half a point. Let's just get the dub.
Exactly.
Because all I want is to beat the Patriots. That's it.
Yeah, everyone,
Like,
man.
they beat us the last 13 times we played them. Do you remember the scores for all of them? No, maybe some of them, because some of them were pretty bad. But
Right.
like, you don't remember the scores for all of them. All you remember is that it was 13 losses. So give us that one win.
Exactly.
I don't care how much.
Especially at Foxborough. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're undefeated on the road so far. We'll see how that goes this week.
So when it comes to the Patriots, because I know how much, Manny, you hate him because you're a Dolphins fan. I know how much you hate him because you're a Jets fan. Danny, when it comes to the Patriots overall, is this the biggest game of the year? For especially with the playoff push that we have and everything coming down at the end, is this the biggest? Does this set us up for we're not the same old Jets because we got to get over that hump against the Patriots? What is it?
I mean, that's the thing. I think it's a little weird because I feel like we've said that the last like 3 games. No, like before we played the Patriots, like Jets fans in general.
Oh yeah.
Like before the first time we played the Patriots is the biggest game in a decade. Before we played the Bills, we just lost to the Patriots. Biggest game of the year because we got to beat the Bills. Yeah. Now Patriots, biggest game of the decade. And now when we played the Bills in a couple weeks, biggest game of the decade. So like at some point, like I don't know if it's the biggest game of the decade. It's definitely a very important game because if we win, if we win and Kansas City somehow loses to the Chargers, we're in first place in the AFC.
And Ravens. I think the Ravens got to lose too.
The Ravens also?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's 2 teams. And then
I have to check that out.
Yeah,
but
check that out.
If we lose, we are in last place in the division. So like it's like if you win, it's one extreme. If you lose, it's the other extreme. So definitely an extremely, extremely important game. I don't think it completely derails the entire season. But it definitely murks the waters a bit if we can't pull this one out. Let me go check that out while we're doing this.
What do you think? What do you think, Manny?
Listen, I was talking yesterday about this, and I'm like, I get the importance of saying this is the biggest game. I don't think it's the biggest game of the decade, so let me answer that question first. I don't think that because I think that because the division is so close, let's just talk about the AFC East. Let's not talk about the AFC in general. Let's just talk about the AFC East. Because everybody's within one game of each other, it's not as important as most people think it is. I think the importance level comes from you guys have been playing such great ball lately that this game needs to be a win for that simple point. Because if you do lose to the game, let's say you do lose to the Patriots, and let's say Zach Wilson has a rough game. If you lose because of Zach, the negativity that's going to come from that loss is going to be so much louder than you guys losing a close game. But if you guys come out and you play hard the way I think it's going to happen, and you have game manager Zach back there, there's a lot of people that need to shut up. Like, for example, I'm just throwing this example out. We don't have to sit on it. Tua has been a big point of discussion about, is he a top 5 caliber player right now at this moment, the way he's playing? I say he is based off how he's playing right now. We're not talking about history. We're just talking about this specific season up until this point. The thing about the Jets is people were talking about, oh, they should be 0-8 to start the season. Oh, they won't make the playoffs. Oh, they're going to get rocked by the Bills. You guys have proven so many people wrong up until this point that I feel like from that perspective, you need to beat the Patriots. Your defense, after losing that game, says we're already looking ahead 2 weeks to facing them again. And that's why I feel so confident that you guys are going to win this game. I know we're not talking about that yet, but I got to throw that nugget out there. I don't see an avenue because there's nobody on that Patriots team that's scary, Italy, at all. Like, nobody puts the fear in your defense because you guys have a high caliber defense right now. Sauce can guard anybody at the wide receiver core on that team or coming out of the backfield. So that means you have so many other players that can pick up the slack on anybody else that they have left. So that's why I feel so confident going into this game for you guys.
Man, I love that. I think for me, when it comes, if it's the biggest game of the decade or if it's the biggest game of the year, I think every week it is a really big game. Because in the NFL, you just don't know who's going to come up big and who is going to win. It could be the most worst team in the NFL and they can win against you. The Jets have proven that last year when it comes to Titans and Bengals. So it's one of those things where every game is a big game. I think with this Patriots game going in, I think it will just give fans something more to cheer about because it's the Patriots. Because
Right.
we hate them so much. The AFC hates them so much. We're sick and tired of seeing them. So it's one of those things where that's how I feel like.
Let's say hypothetically, let's say that the Jets were to lose against the Patriots.
Okay.
Okay.
That Bears game at home all of a sudden becomes the biggest game of the season. Does it or does
Yeah,
it not?
because they have good
you-
chemistry going with Fields, right? Yeah.
They have a good chemistry with Fields. We're playing at home.
Mhm.
If we lose, we are now 500. No, 6-5. If we were to lose that game,
And I got to hear from my cousins. Ugh.
so all of a sudden that becomes a really big game also. So like you said, I feel like every game is a big game, especially because the AFC, I feel like it's so crowded at the top.
Right.
Like nobody's run away with it, and there's not many teams on the bottom outside of the Texans and the Raiders maybe. Everybody else is pretty much clustered at like 5-6 wins, give or take.
Yeah.
So every game is crucial.
Yeah, good point. And that's exactly what I was saying.
Right.
If you just take the AFC East into account, you want to try to stay as close to first place as possible, right? Like that's the goal right now. The Bills struggled the last 2 weeks. It is what it is.
Right.
Me and Danny both feel that they're eventually going to make their way back up to the top of the division. But even if they don't, the fact that those three teams are playing so well, and I'm sorry, Danny, what are the Patriots right now? They're one game back out of what, second place?
They're 5-4.
Yeah, so these losses matter so much more because of the divisional standings. One, like Danny said, 1 week you're up, you could win this game and you're at the top. If you lose, you're all the way at the bottom. So yeah, it's definitely matters from a playoff standings down the road here.
I couldn't agree more with you, fellas. So let's go to predictions. What do you think is the score going to be? And do they go to overtime? Do they maybe win on a touchdown or a field goal? What do you think, Manny?
I wanted to give it to Danny first because he didn't believe my score yesterday, but I'm going to give it to you first, Italy, in case you didn't catch it yesterday. I honestly believe that you guys put up somewhere in the range from 24 to 27 points. Offensively, defensively, everything combined. I see maybe a pick six from Sauce Gardner. Okay. I do see you guys being on the field offensively more just because of how good that running game is getting together, even with the injury to Bryce Hall. But I honestly see that you guys don't give up any more than 10 points at all from the Patriots, and that you guys put up a good 24 to 27 piece. So if I were to call it, I feel pretty confident saying 27-10. You guys take the dub in Foxborough.
What do you think, Danny?
I think, man, you forgot yesterday. I picked it more or less the same score. I think it was Gunny that was a little more reserved. Right. I said more or less 24-10. I also can't see them putting more than 10 points up on us. If you think about the last time we played them a couple weeks ago, if it's not for that pick six that gets called back, they got not only that pick six called back, but they got an extra 15 yards on that drive because of that penalty, which put them into field goal range, which gave them the 3 points at the end of the first half. Come out the second half, then Brandon Mann go ahead and slips, gives them the ball basically at the 50-yard line. 2 or 3 plays later, they're in the end zone. And that's their offense basically that whole game. Those 2 drives, those 10 points. Outside of that, they didn't do too much that game. So if we can clean things up, make sure Brady Mann has some solid cleats on, I can't imagine them scoring too many points on us, honestly. We just and I think that our running game's going to get us. I think Zach Wilson will do what he has to do on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4 with his legs or with his arm, and I think that we should win. Now, what scares me is that I feel so confident about this win.
Oh, I was about to say there shouldn't be anything on the Patriots that scare you.
No, that scares me because I'm not used to feeling this confident about a win. So that does scare me.
Italy, before you answer and give me your prediction.
So
honestly, and I get you're a Jets fan, but if you were to take your Jets hat off for a second and just look at the Patriots, right? Yeah. Outside of Bill Belichick's skills as a coach, what really scares you about this team, whether it's offensively or defensively? Like Danny said, you guys lost that game due to a lot of mental errors on your own part, not anything specifically that they did. So when you look at this game, what really about that team offensively or defensively scares you about them?
And I can't put Belichick in this, right?
You can't because we know that he's a great coach. So outside of that, what really scares you? There's no player on that team that, oh my God, this guy might take the game over, like a Stephon Diggs, a Tyreek Hill, so on and so forth, right? A Sauce Gardner, he could take over as well from the defensive standpoint. When you look at the Patriots, whether it's offensive or defensively, what really scares you? Nothing, right?
I think we can shut down Stevenson. I think we will, but he honestly, and he's the only guy that I
Right.
think is going to be a good player. I am going to go with they're always two steps ahead of us. And they have really capitalized on that when we make the errors because they just come back stronger. So that's for me. But also, I think it's Foxborough. I'm going to be honest, Foxborough. We have just not done well there, and the field conditions, you never know. So I just think when it comes to that kind of situation, that's what I'm very hesitant about because when the Jets go in there and their confidence is super high, sometimes we get really, really screwed. So it's one of those things where if they can just play their game, Zach Wilson can play their game, Salah can play their game, Olbrook, LaFleur. I think it's gonna be fine. But I was very overconfident last time. And now I'm more like I'm just keeping it at the middle ground. And I think
Hit me with it. What's your score?
that's why I'm going to say it's going to be 2020 going into overtime.
Woo!
And honestly, I don't know who's going to win. Someone's going to win on someone's going to win either on a field goal, touchdown. Someone's going to get a bad call in there. Man might slip. I don't know. I really think I'm keeping it
I like it,
conservative
Abby.
right now.
I like it.
I'm keeping it conservative right now because I'm trying not to get my hopes up because I really want to beat them so bad. So that people thought I was crazy for that, but like it's just
I definitely think you're crazy for that. I definitely do.
and that's okay. You can, but it's just one of those things where
I'd rather hear that than the overconfidence, honestly.
Yeah,
But I have no reason as a Dolphins fan to be overconfident for your team. So I'm just basing it. I could literally tell you from an outside perspective what I see. Your defense is better than their offense. Your offense is better than their defense. So when I put those two and two together,
right,
I see no reason if you keep the mental mistakes to a minimum why you guys shouldn't win this game. Maybe 27-10 is probably saying it too. I don't see this game going to overtime. I hope you're wrong because
me too.
Then the Patriots think that they're probably better than what they are. Me and Danny both thought the Patriots are going to be bottom of the barrel this season.
Really good. Me too.
I think, Danny, where you and I deferred was I said Bills, Dolphins, Jets. I believe you said Bills, Jets, Dolphins. It was kind of like that kind of scenario, but we all agreed the Patriots should be bottom of the barrel. So again, from an outside perspective, when I look at your team, your defense is stronger, your offense is stronger. I'm not saying they're high powered, but the fact that you guys can control the trenches on both sides of the football, how could you not? Losing this game would blow my mind if you guys were to lose this game. That's all I'm saying.
And you bring up really good points. It's just for me, I'm just got my hopes up before because this game means a lot to me. So that's why I'm kind of like, I just can see a lot of things happen because it's the Patriots. We lost against them before. And not only that, they were two steps ahead of us when we made mistakes. So it's just, I hope I'm wrong. Pray to God that I'm wrong. But it's just one of those things. Abby had said something pretty cool. So their coach makes the difference. Our coaching staff has to be flawless this game. I think they will. I mean, that's what it is.
That. Yeah, Bill Belichick is a genius.
Yeah, he's got our number for a long time. In his press conference today, he said he hated us and he just wanted to go.
Did he really?
After us? If he said something about, I wish I had that clip.
Well, he said the Jets are the Jets. Well, at least the quote that I saw was.
Yes, that's the quote I was talking about. Yeah,
and then they asked him to elaborate. He said the Jets are going to do what the Jets do. I don't know what that means. But I mean, it's very easy to get taken as
what the Jets are going to do. Right. It seems like you guys are going to find a way to lose this game. If I was just listening to that, the Jets are going to find a way to lose this game.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm taking from it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's what we want to take, right? Because we just want to be upset.
Right. We want that bulletin board material.
Yeah, we're like, give me that bulletin
board
right here.
Wait. I said that wrong. You guys want that bullet? I don't give a
I was going to say, aren't you a Dolphins fan?
I just said we. Fuck that. I did not say we. Man. Edit that out.
No, you did. No, it's recording right
Edit
now. I'll give you the clip later. Well, I gotta bring this up. Reed and Sauce Gardner duo, are they the best cornerback duo in the entire NFL, or are they the best duo in the AFC East? Danny, we'll start with you, and then Manny, you go after.
In the AFC East, for sure.
Okie dokie.
The closest thing were the Dolphins, and Byron Jones has been out all year. So for sure, AFC East. In the entire NFL, I can't say that I follow the NFL close enough every single team to say that for sure that they're the best. I would assume that they're one of the best because they are so good. Now, I'm going to ask you this question.
Me or Manny?
Both of you. Is it crazy of me to say that DJ Reed right now is better than Sauce Gardner?
Oh, you know what?
Wow.
You know what? That's a very good question. I actually thought about this the other night. I had a dream about it. You want to go first, Manny, or do you want me to go first?
I don't mind. I don't mind taking it.
Go for it.
Since training camp, when we were doing one of our preliminary shows, Danny, I remember sending you a clip.
Yep.
And I said, I just watched Sauce Gardner on the practice field.
Yep.
Covering the guy who wants a trade.
Elijah Moore.
Mm-hmm. And the way this man stood in front of Elijah Moore as a rookie and followed him hip per hip, that hip movement, the way he basically controlled where he wanted Elijah Moore to go to the whole time. I told Danny, just looking at that small clip, I think this kid's going to be special. Yes. Sauce Gardner, right now, for me, based off of the question you asked Reed and Sauce and answering your question at the same time, Danny, right now, Sauce for me is top 3 best corner in the NFL. And I'll give him best corner in the AFC East without a doubt. So I definitely put him over Reed, and that's no knock on Reed. Yeah. I think he's serviceable. He's definitely up there. Now, if I had a healthy Byron Jones and a healthy Xavier Howard, then we could have a fight about this. But for sure, right now, Sauce Gardner is top 3 in the NFL, best corner in the AFC East.
Tell me what you think, Italy, before I give my 2 cents.
You know, I think everything that Reed has been through with San Francisco and with Seattle and him coming to the Jets and for how young he is, I think he has come back very nicely. And he finally found a guy in Sauce Gardner that could complement him really well. I mean, he's a mentor to Sauce, and everyone looks up to Reed on defense. And I love that when it comes to Reed. And he wanted to come here for Saleh, right? Because he was with him with San Francisco. But I'm going to have to go with Sauce. I think Sauce has the tools that Reed just doesn't have, the length, the arm strength, the quickness. The only thing is the penalties that suck with Sauce. That's the only thing I have a knock on. But
he surprisingly hasn't gotten penalized a lot, which I thought he would. And you know what? He gets kind of handsy. He's getting away with a lot of shit.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I think it might catch up with him eventually. But right now, as I'm focusing on Reed and Sauce, I think Sauce is definitely right now better than Reed. But I like some of the stuff that Reed brings to the table.
Okay. Did you by chance watch that Sauce Gardner video that I made a couple days ago?
Yes.
Where I put all the faces of the people that he had shut down.
And it was really funny.
Now, you'll notice that it wasn't Stephon Diggs out there. It was Gabe Davis that I put on there.
Yeah, you didn't put Diggs in there. You put Gabe. I remember that.
Because Diggs did get shut down, but he got shut down by DJ Reed. This was the first time that they moved Sauce Gardner to the other side of the field, and DJ Reed was the one that was manning down on Diggs, and Diggs did nothing. Now, I don't know if that was purposeful by Coach Saleh to make him switch sides, but Reed is the one that got most of the snaps against Diggs, and Diggs did nothing. Now, I would assume that you would want your best corner on the best receiver. Am I saying that Reed is a lot better or even better at all? No, but I think the question should be asked because I think that people are disrespecting Reed way too much. Okay. Nobody talks about Reed. Nobody. And I think that more people need to put some respect on Reed's name.
I agree with that.
So what's your answer?
Exactly.
Long-term Sauce right now, Sunday, DJ Reed.
Ooh.
Put him on the best receiver.
Ooh.
Okay. Hey, listen. People like to come at other people for their opinions and think they're crazy. I respect everybody's opinion, so I respect.
Well, this has been my board for 20 plus years. You're fucking crazy picking DJ Reed over Sauce Gardner.
On Sunday, I want DJ Reed.
Gotcha. All right.
Hey, that's cool. I like that. So, moving on to the next thing that
Tell him, Abby.
Yeah, Abby. Man, her and Elmo like to fight in this chat, which is pretty funny. So you might see that eventually. But let's go to coaching, because I know everyone was kind of calling for some of the coaches' heads the first few games of the season.
Danny.
What do you think? We'll start with me, then we'll go with Danny, because I'm curious at the end to see what Danny has to think. What do you think Coach Sala, Ulbrich, LaFleur, Boyer, and if I'm missing anybody, sorry. What do you think kind of the job that they've been doing so far since people have kind of called for their name in the beginning of the season?
Well, Danny was one of those people calling for a couple heads where I had to calm his ass down right away. Game 1, he was no, it's my turn to talk, sir. You get your
oh man, what have I started? What have I started?
I literally had to tell him to chew on that receipt game 2 because
yes.
What did we say about this team before the season started? Maybe 4 wins, maybe 5 come halfway. What's your record right now? That if you guys win this week, you're in first place. It's like the job that they've all been doing. And as much shit as certain people gave about rotations, this person shall not go unnamed for right now. Everything they're doing is working. Greg the Leg is working. The defense rotations are working. Elijah Moore has not been needed, and you guys have been winning games. Outside of one game where Zach Wilson just said, hey, let me throw to everybody, even though I am not there yet. Outside of that one game, Zach Wilson has been playing really good ball this season. So how can you not say that the coaching hasn't been outstanding so far? Would I put him in coach of the year? No, I wouldn't go that far. But they have been doing an excellent job. That defense looks almost as good as what it did when Saleh was a defense coordinator in San Francisco. It's getting right up there. Like Danny asked me this question, are they a top 5 defense? I said not yet, but you're flirting with it. You're definitely flirting with it. So from all aspects, from special teams, offensive coordinator, coaching, I say if I had to give it a grade, B+, A-, man. I'd go that high.
Interesting. What do you think, Danny?
I don't know. He said so much. Am I just answering the question about the coach?
Yeah.
Because going back to what he said about the coach, he said that I attacked
coaching in general. Coaching in general.
Okay. After week 1, I was upset about the defense.
Uh-huh.
But let's put this in context.
Okay.
We hired a defensive head coach, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
For a full season, right? Not just a couple games. For a full season, he didn't do shit with the defense. And I'm okay with him not having his players. But if you are hired as a defensive head coach, you cannot be dead last in defense. I don't give a fuck who your players are. If you have a half-decent scheme, you could be 29th, 28th, 30th. You cannot be 32nd if you are a defensive head coach.
Yes, you
can.
So
that's what I was peeved about last season. And then week 1 comes and it looks like shit again. So yes, I was upset because we had a full season last, hired as a defensive head coach dead last.
Mm-hmm.
And then week 1 still looking like shit. So yes, I was upset. I was very upset. And we should have lost game 2. That Browns game, Nick Chubb's a dumbass. He ran it into the end zone. We should have started 0-2. So don't come here and tell me that I should be saying sorry to Salah. He started like shit. It's improved. But I was in all my right to talk shit after week 1 because it did not look good.
No.
Yes.
Not at all. You got to be the voice of reason here, Italy. After 1 week and
after 18 games. 18 games.
After week 1,
18 games.
18 games of not having his players and people having to learn the new system. I'm sorry, you don't put
it isn't a new system. He's the same coach.
But the players aren't. That's my point. The players have to buy into that system and start effectively running said
the defensive
system.
Backs. Everybody else is the same.
You give him too much shit, man. I'll take Robert Saleh on my team if you don't.
I will also, but I could be. I am allowed to be upset after what I saw after week 1. Is the first 17 games of last year.
As of week 11 that we're going into, what grade do you give this coaching staff now, including Robert Saleh? Before Mr. Italy Jet answers, what's your answer?
A grade?
Yeah. How confident? Right. So based off where you were week 1 till now, we could honestly say you were wrong. This coaching staff has been doing what they're supposed to do and putting this team in a position to win, and they've done that every single week. That's my point.
Let me tell you something, man, and I need to be very clear. They should have started this season 0-3.
They should have.
Okay, what I'm saying is that they haven't been playing up to par the first 3 games of the year and the first 17 games of his career. The first 20 games, they didn't look good.
Coaching one of those games. That's all I'm gonna say, bro. Coaching one of those games.
They started winning when Zach Wilson came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Italy, what you got for us, man?
So I've been flirting with both sides with this situation for a very long time because last year was such a shit show. But at the last 6 games of the season is when Zach Wilson, I felt like, was kind of becoming that guy. But I knew he had a knee injury. So it's one of those things where when you have two knee injuries in a row, that's tough on a quarterback. Yeah. So it's one of those things where he's got to get back up to par. Now, I will admit, I am with Danny on half of this, and then I'm with it on you half of this.
Okay.
Only one part of it, though, because of everything going on in those first 2 games, because I went to the game. Yeah. I went to the game, and I was like, I'm watching a St. Louis Rams game all over again. I tailgated like it again. Like, it was just brought back a lot of bad memories. So then watching it over time, I've always been that kind of guy. I don't give up until it's 0-0-0. I always believe in we've always been a fourth quarter team. We always make it close to between 5 and 7 minutes.
Yeah.
I was the guy that did call for Ulbricht's name because I just don't like Ulbricht. I
remember.
I never have. But I did swallow that receipt, and I'm good now. But I never gave up on Salah. Never gave up on Salah. Never gave up on LaFleur. Never gave up on Boyer because Boyer's been through 2 coaches already when it came to the Jets, and he's doing a phenomenal job.
For sure.
My thing was always Zerline because I don't like Zerline, and now he's proving me wrong. Now I have to like him now. So it's one of those things where for my mindset now is, yeah, you can totally see that it's just a system thing. You got to give quarterbacks 3 years. You got to give coaches 3 years. You got to give everybody time. That's fine. I'm not done. For me, when it comes to a system and when it comes to players, Zach Wilson does need to get more because this is a playoff. You can tell that this is a playoff team. But if you're going to go strictly system and strictly, we have been getting better each and every game. There are times where it's bad, but like for me, now my answer is, yeah, you just tell we just need to go through some bad times because it's becoming worth it now. Now you can, Danny.
How frustrated were you that they were running zone so often?
Oh yeah, through my TV. But it's one of the but
right, they made an adjustment.
Exactly.
How upset were we when they were blitzing and it wasn't working? Because they were leaving open holes all in the defense.
And JFM.
Frustrating. Right. Yes. And Quinton Williams almost killed one of the coaches, and they completely changed that. So what I'm saying is that they did a bad job last year. They didn't necessarily start hot this year, and then they made adjustments, and it's paid off. Great job.
Okay.
But we're entitled to be upset with what they're doing isn't working.
Yes, that is correct. I agree with that.
So fair question to ask both of you guys.
Okay.
What do you consider to be your, quote, disappointment? Were you guys supposed to be good last year?
We were supposed to be decent on defense.
No. Were you supposed to be good last year? That's just my general question. The answer is no, because again,
I'd say mediocre. I said we were supposed to be mediocre last year.
Mediocre's fine. What was the final win total for last year? Was it 5 wins?
For the Jets or overall?
For the Jets. What was your final record last year?
I think it was
I don't remember.
Yeah,
shit.
I thought we had 3 wins.
Shit, guys.
It was like 2 games.
Okay. Well, the whole point I'm saying,
I think it was 3.
I think it was 3, yeah.
The point that I'm making is that the reason you brought in new coaching is because you guys were down in the dumps. So I think based off the one season he had to get you 4 wins, dude, if people thought you guys were going to go 0-8 this year, people were probably picking you to go 0-16 last year.
Okay, but Manny, my point is, if you hire Mike McDaniel, right? Let's say that your team wasn't as good as it was last year.
Sure.
If you hire Mike McDaniel, the offensive genius,
and
you end up with the 32nd ranked offense in the league, are you not like, God damn, we couldn't be 31st, we couldn't be 30th, 29th? Like you're an offensive genius. Figure some shit out so that you look not like the worst in the league. That was my whole issue.
Right, and that's a fair point. My point is, if Mike McDaniel would have been hired this season, being that he's never been a head coach, I would have given a way bigger grace period. Like, I didn't expect us to be as good as right now. I don't care if we have Tyreek Hill, because you have to start learning the system that's being built around you and for the players that you're in. we didn't see enough of Tua for the last 3 seasons to be like, this guy's going to come into this season and start playing like a top 5 quarterback. Unless you're that type of fan that's like, oh, we're going to win every single game, nobody would have guessed that Tua was going to play as good as he is right now. So my point is, I think Saleh did the job he could do with what he had, and now he's showing that year or 2 into a system, he's showing you how good of a coach he is, and just give him a couple more pieces. Give him give him a couple even better players next year, Danny. And now we're talking you consistently fighting for the top 3 spots in the AFC. That's just my point.
I believe in this defense. I think that he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that I was disappointed last year that we ended up 32nd. And then the first 3 games, I was disappointed because I thought that we would look a little better. And I didn't think that we looked a little better. And my fear was we're about to have another season where our defense sucks and we have a defensive head coach. This can't happen. So, yes, I'm happy now. But yes, that was my fear at the beginning of this season.
I totally agree. I totally agree with both sides. For me, I thought we brought in Saleh because he's a defensive mind coach, just like Rex Ryan. So it was one of those things where I was very disappointed last year when it came to the defense. But I also know that was the kind of year because we're such a young team and we had, oh my God, we had so many injuries. Good God, everyone looked like everybody was like looked like we were using practice squad guys.
If I remember correctly, Danny said at one point that you guys were literally playing as Braxton Berrios as your top wide receiver option, and then you had like a bunch of practice squad wide receivers, didn't you? At one point last year, from how many injuries you guys had?
Yeah. At one point we did, yes.
Yeah.
At one point because there was just so many injuries, it was insane.
Right.
So I took last year of like, okay, we just needed to develop. We need to develop these young guys, and then this year I was like, okay. We can develop, but we can definitely push for a wild card. But I will have to admit with Manny, it did scare me the first few games of the season. But last year, the last 6 games, I was like, there is hope because I thought Zach Wilson played well, but he didn't play that great when he came back, but he was winning games because everyone's like, okay, who would you rather have, Flacco or Wilson? Well, everyone's going to say, Wilson, but Flacco did serve his time. But for me, right now, as I'm starting to see everything come together, because that's what we all want to see. We want to see the best product, what Joe Douglas has done, come together. So, and I like it. I like it. If we can continue, that's what I want. Develop more because he's a defensive coach. Let him do their thing, and then we're good.
Preach it.
And real quick, DKB Jets is saying that
which one? Which one?
I'm not sure. He said that.
Oh yeah,
we didn't hire Saleh to be a defensive specialist.
The thing is, when you hire a coach, they have a specialty. You hope that they improve one side of the ball because they have a certain specialty. If it's just about motivating people, we would hire what's this guy's name? Tony Robbins, the motivational speaker, to run the team. That's not what you do. You hire somebody because they have a specialty, and then you hope that they use that specialty to improve that side of the ball just a little bit more. Like, you want them to obviously develop the whole team, but more than not, those coaches have a specialty. Like Bill Belichick, defensive minded. Mike McDaniel, offensive. They have those specialties. That's just how it is. That's how it's always been.
Jeff Saturday, apparently a leader of men. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Oh man, here we go. Everyone keeps saying I wouldn't mind having Rex Ryan back, and then the Finns. I wouldn't mind having Rex Ryan back. I mean, he was a great coach, but right now,
I love Rex Ryan.
I love Rex Ryan, but would I want him back per se? I don't know.
I don't know.
It depends what kind of coach is and what the culture is. Honestly,
I definitely hire him as a defensive consultant on my team in a heartbeat.
And a consultant in a heartbeat, as a part-time coach in a heartbeat, but as taking over a team.
Can we just hire him as our PR guy?
I don't know.
I would want him, or can he be our mascot? That would be pretty dope.
I mean, Jets don't have a mascot. I would do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat. So my last question for you guys, and this has been such an awesome debate and everything going on. Appreciate you guys coming on the show. For your teams, so your Finns, your Jets, who are your favorite Jets and Finns of all time? You could pick 2 on offense, 2 on defense, and you could pick 2 coaches as well. So that's a total of 6. So Vince, we'll start with you first.
Who's Vince?
Of course, Don Shula.
Vince.
Oh,
yeah.
Vince. Okay.
Of course, Don Shula.
Legend.
I want to say it has to be Mike McDaniel now. I was
Okay,
I
cool.
was a fan of Flores, but the way Mike McDaniel, obviously Jets fans are going to know this, but I've uploaded a few clips of just the fact of how Tua is on a different level in the aspect of just his personality, his happiness, is because you can see that Mike McDaniel is bringing that out of this team. So those two, Dan Marino for me, obviously,
Okay,
that's
cool.
who I fell in love with, and I used to tell people because this is personal. I don't know who my dad was. I was like, no, Dan Marino's my dad. I used to tell people that all the time. Not gonna lie.
I love that.
Wide receiver. I wanted to go Chris Chambers. I always loved Chris Chambers. I know he's not a big name, but I just love the fact that this guy was doing Odell Beckham stuff on the Dolphins before Odell Beckham was even around. Defense is going to be easy for me as well. I always modeled my Pee-wee football game after Zach Thomas. I'm like, you can't be that short and that good, but that guy proved that you can be. So Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor, those are my 6 right there.
I couldn't agree more with Zach Taylor and Jason Taylor. When Jason Taylor went to the Jets, I was like, oh, hell yeah, let's go. Sorry, that was awesome. And the LT came in there. Oh, man, I thought we were winning the Super Bowl that year.
What you got, Danny?
What you got, Danny?
I'm going to tell you the Jets player I hated the most in history was Jason Taylor. I hated that guy putting on our jersey. That guy talked so much crap about us. It was a disgrace that we paid him, and 2, that he took the money. And you know that's the furthest he ever got in his career? AFC Championship with the Jets? A disgrace. Anyway, all right. So head coach Rex Ryan, my favorite coach all time. Love that guy. Second, Herm Edwards. He was the first successful coach that I got to watch. So Herm Edwards for sure. Defensive, Revis is easy choice. And Jonathan Vilma. I really like Jonathan Vilma. I was really upset with Eric Mangini traded him away. I think if he would have stayed there with Rex Ryan, that would have been awesome. So I really like Jonathan Vilma. And offensive, Wayne Corbett, still my favorite football player of all time. And second would be between either it's a toss-up between Curtis Martin and Santana Moss, because I really like Santana Moss.
Yeah, me too. He's one of my favorite all time too.
So I guess I give you 7.
Yeah.
All right. For me, I am a big Rex Ryan fan. I've watched him a lot, and also on Hard Knocks too. And then Mike Westhoff. I love Mike Westhoff. He changed the game at the at his position. He put up rules for him now too, which is, I think it's funny. But he's been on our show too. He's come back on our show too later this month. So I'm really happy about that. But I love Mike Westhoff and Rex Ryan. Offense, I'm a big Roll Tide guy. I'm a big Joe Namath fan. So that's Joe Namath. And then also it would have to be Wayne Corbett. But I love Cole, Santana Moss, and Martin. Those are probably after that. Defense, can't go wrong with Revis. Can't go wrong with that one. But also for me, it would – I'm going to say Sauce. I've watched Sauce his entire college. Well,
this is what's happening.
Well,
it's the nickname.
Well, no, it's not that. It's not that. I've watched him at Cincinnati. I have family in Cincinnati. It's a personal connection because I love that for me.
Yeah.
One of my old students was his teammate, James Wiggins.
That's really cool. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he used to be his teammate out in Cincinnati. He's playing for the Cardinals now.
Ah, man, I love that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for Everything NYJ podcast episode 57. Battered Jets fans, thank you for being on the show. Where can they find you again?
Battered Jets fans on Twitter, just like that. Battered Jets fans on Twitter and Instagram. We don't go live just because life happens. It's hard to make sure that I start exactly at the same time every week, but we go once a week. Usually Tuesday or Wednesday, posted at midnight. And I usually post a video every Sunday morning before the game starts. So look out for that. Go ahead. You can plug your ugly Dolphins.
I would never disrespect Italy's Jets like that. I know everybody in here is a Jets fan. And I listen, I just appreciate
Except one. You got the batter for some Finns.
That's
guy
me.
Was in here.
That's
me. You? That's never mind.
That's me.
My bad.
But whoa.
What was that?
What? Okay, but nonetheless, listen. I appreciate the fact that you invited me on. You could have easily just had Mr. Battered Jet Fan himself, but I appreciate the invite, and it's always good talking football with you guys.
Appreciate that. You can follow us at Everything NYJ podcast
And a quick shout out to my girl Michelle that's in the chat. She came by to show some love, and obviously, support. That. She is a Jets fan, but she supports the bearded fanatic. Just saying.
I love that. I think good shout outs. So you guys can follow us, Everything NYJ Podcast, on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. You can also follow me, Italy Jet, on these social media platforms. You can follow Batter Jets on their social media platforms. They're good stuff. Go give them a like and a sub. Come give us a like and a sub. We spread the love. And go Jets on Sunday against the Patriots. And you're on a bye week, right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, well, enjoy your bye week. Y'all have a safe night. Good night, guys.
Peace out, boys.